Live. Hello and welcome to the Fanboy Modeling School. I am the Fat Mantis, and I am now in HD. And I'm over here with my man,
Steve, also in HD, high fidelity.
and high-fiving it. How are you, my brother?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you? I love this background. It's one of my favorites, man. I just love the color scheme of it all.
I love it too. For those seeing on YouTube or the Rumble, the greatest streaming app ever. We have a lot of crazy visuals over here. One could say it's a splendor of imagery and madness. You should need to check us out over there. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to everything we're doing on all the apps, because I think we're pretty much on all of them, right?
Every last one of them. There's an app we're on, except for that godforsaken one from Korea.
I don't know which one you're talking about. But anyway, let's get into it. First, I want to ask you real quick. I'm not going to ask you about honorable mentions, even though we're going to get back to it. I want to ask you real quick. You're a UFC fan, are you not?
I am a UFC fan, and more importantly, I am an MMA fan. I just want to correct some people. The UFC is not the only MMA promotion. It is a promotion, the premier promotion.
It's funny when people think it's a style. They're like, his style's UFC. And you're like, for starters, even if you said MMA, you'd be wrong. But, so here's what I'm saying. I think you know that a certain celebrity swung by.
Oh, Donald D. Trump?
Yes. And so what are your thoughts about that? The crowd went wild. The fighters went wild.
So he's been at the last few events, right? And he always gets a standing this past match, which was obviously Islam Makhachev versus Dustin the Diamond Poirier. I just got to say it, Mantis. Dustin the Diamond Poirier is a one-in-a-lifetime type of athlete, man. And if this was his swan song, if this was his last match, he's been fighting, and I think in that promotion since his early 20s, and he's 35 now, man. So in fighter years, he's actually 80. He went out on his shield, bro. He made America proud. He fought that fucking Dagestanian like no one else has, period, point blank. But Donald Trump was in attendance, and the crowd went absolutely nuts, my guy. And here's the funny part. At one point, I know, shout out to everyone that's listening to the rebroadcast here on Riz Radio Live 365. Try to keep the language clean. At one point, they were saying buck Joe Biden, and they had to acknowledge that during the fight. One of the announcers is like, what's the crowd chanting right now? And one of them's like, nothing good. Nothing good.
Bex over here from our live remote studio audience is saying hashtag fangirls for fanboys. Thank you very much for stopping in here on the Fanboy Modeling School. So he seems unstoppable ever since his little defeat in New York. It seems that everyone wants a piece of Donald, or at least to appear as if they're on the Donald train. Think this is an indication of anything that's going to happen in November?
I think it's a very good representation of how certain people in the country feel, right? You know me, man. I try to be a true moderate when it comes to this, man. I'm just looking at things objectively. But Trump, yet again, has turned an L into a social W, right? Legally, he took an L. Socially, he's more popular than he was before this thing. Yeah. And his base is more galvanized now, since he even said it himself in what can only be surmised as just mastery on the mic. When asked, was he going to beat the charges? He said, Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges.
So well said. So well said from the Donald. Oh my God, that's good. That's funny that he said that.
So yes, I do think I think we're in for a dogfight. The question becomes, in regard to the entire New York situation with the Donald, is will the Secret Service have to go into Rikers Island with this guy if they actually do hit him with some jail time? Now, of course, I know that Donald Trump would never be on mainline population, right? He's not going to be with the general population, but the Secret Service apparently going to do their duty. Where he goes, they go.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy times. You couldn't predict this. Couldn't write this. I don't think there's any fiction that has ever been like this felon from sitting in a cage wins the election.
You know what the crazy thing is? There are felons who can't get a job at the post office, but we might have one in the
Yeah, I'm telling you, the founders are rolling around in their graves right now that they're like, they put in the Constitution that you can lose the right to vote if you're a felon, but they did not write anything prevents you from being president if you're a felon. That is the craziest oversight I've ever heard of.
They weren't prepared. They weren't prepared for where the American dream was going to take them, man. But yeah, man, Donald. So they were in Brick City, Jersey City. Brick City, Jersey City, whatever you want to call it, man, for this latest UFC event. And Donald came in, and his popularity, according to the crowd, they loved him, man. And Jersey's a pretty liberal place. It's in certain pockets are very conservative. So it's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out in November.
Well, there is a whole thing, and I have to say, absolutely no offense to the beta Democrats who are listening right now, but you guys are betas, right? And so betas are not very likely to be watching UFC. So it could literally just be the testament of what is the fandom you're at.
Yeah. Also,
it's like going to an NRA event. Of course they're going to cheer him. And I'm not taking away the fact that he was super popular at UFC, but that could just be it. That more rough-minded people are going to like the UFC.
So I forget the woman's name. She's an actress, a fairly well-known actress who was accepting an award, and she said that we must protect the arts, and mixed martial arts are not the arts. So the libs are more than aware. Oh yeah. Let me school you.
She literally took the time to diss mixed martial arts.
Let me school you for a second, my brother. When the COVID situation first started, there was only one sports promotion that said we will keep our doors open and we will entertain people.
Right, and it was the UFC, Fighters Island. Yeah,
it was the UFC Fighters Island. Shout out to Talking with a Dad. You remember we covered this? I think that was one of our last episodes, and it was Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. And the UFC's popularity grew on both sides where you stood on that issue because people were just so happy to have something to watch other than reruns of their favorite shows, man. And it was like live sports. And I would dare say the UFC was already a juggernaut at that point, but then it really catapulted them into a different level. And Dana White is a very socially conservative guy. He is a freedom speech guy. He's like, I don't put shackles on my fighters. They can say whatever they want across the aisle. So the liberals are most certainly aware of it. The world the liberals live in regards to combative sports is tickle fighting, right? If we left it up to these people, tickle fighting would be the premier, where everyone wins. Everyone gets a good tickle. Everyone gets a little ditty,
I'm not going to lie. Even I would be down for that.
Tickle fighting.
A little tickle fight never hurt anybody. I was watching a Seth video, and he labeled it as pacifists watch UFC knockouts. And it's only the knockout portion, and you watch the people go, "Oh my god, what happened?" And one was like, "Are they trying to kill each other?" Kind of like the pacifists couldn't handle it. However, if you look at the motley crew of people they had, it really should have been titled "Liberals Watch UFC Knockouts."
So interestingly enough, there's a Gordon Ryan. Do you know who Gordon Ryan is? He is the GOAT of no-gi jiu-jitsu, according to a lot of people. I'm up in the air on it, but he's one of the greatest to ever do it, for sure. Takes steroids, performance-enhancing drugs, because that's not illegal in jiu-jitsu competition, right? They say, come roid it out to you.
Roid it up.
Come as you are.
Don't show up sober.
But I was recently watching one of his videos, Manny. He is a loud and proud conservative, and he had a Fitbit on, and he wouldn't even say the name Fitbit on his YouTube channel because he was like, I hate anything from the left. And that's where the election is going to be this year. Right. It's going to be all about the dog fight, man. And here at Fanboy Modeling School, we promise that we will take the time to diss both sides equally. You always get an objective, but the liberals just make it so much easier to get at them. You would agree with that, right, my brother? Like, it's like
I take shots all the time.
they just make it so easy, man. And one of our main topics tonight, folks, talking about Star Wars: The Acolyte. They're not doing themselves any favors, man. I know. I know there's that anti-woke segment of, fandom commentary on YouTube, and that's not who we are. But I gotta say, man, the people who made the Acolyte are like the fat chick that came in a bikini top bra talking about why won't anyone get with me.
You are going to get us canceled, brother. You're going to get us canceled. However, he's right. That is exactly who it was made by and for. Maybe not for. I am one to talk. You know why? Because apparently I'm a fat chick. Because apparently I am super excited to see this thing.
So, as am I.
Yeah, Shaolin says. Oh, sorry. Shaolin says he's going to get spanked worse than 2020. But either way, we're screwed. That's interesting take. I think I have the exact opposite thought, but we'll see.
What, you're thinking is going to be a landslide for the Donald?
Not a landslide, but I do think he's going to take. I think even though the Democrats are going to cheat, every dead Democrat ever is going to vote. I still think he's going to beat him.
Interesting take. I refrain. Here's what I think is going to happen, man.
They don't have the scam demic to serve a smokescreen. So
here's what I think, man. I think this is going to be the most insane thing to happen twice in my lifetime in regards to politics. Before I was even cognizant of this type of stuff, I thought our president being tried for getting a blowjob was the craziest thing ever.
We were little kids when that happened, so I didn't
Oh man, we got a banger of a show for you guys tonight.
Oh,
man.
we really do.
Do you have any honorable mentions for us, brother?
I've got one, and this news has passed. People have talked to death. People have already gone into it, yada, yada, yada. But I got to say, I saw Furiosa Memorial Day weekend, and I loved it, and it does not deserve to flop. And I read in Variety that they're like, they're saying they're going to stop paying for Mad Max movies. They're going to stop making them. Or, they're not going to give George Miller any money to make them. And I was like, man, I want to see so many more. I love this movie. It's great. If anyone has a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. I don't know what's going on out there.
You know what, brother? I have not seen it yet. I put it on the other day, but it was not a good copy. If you catch my hint, wink, wink.
I feel you.
And so I immediately turned it off because you told me it was going to be good. You told me it was good. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I have to admit, I had the same reaction that a lot of people had when I saw that they were doing Furiosa's character, a Mad Max saga. And I was just like, what in the gender inclusion is going on? But, you're not the only person saying that it was good.
Because here's what I'm saying. The optics are definitely Wokey McWoketown. However, when you watch it, it's not a woke female.
No,
she's a regular female with regular struggles, and it's
she gets her period during the post-apocalypse.
Yeah, so.
She's menstruating. I do have an honorable.
She's not a girl boss. She's not a invincible girl boss, basically.
Yeah. Not a Mary Sue. I do have an honorable mention, but it kind of ties into some of the stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. But we got some trailer drops, right? Obviously, we got the Venom trailer drop. We got the Alien Romulus.
Oh, I haven't even seen that one yet. I haven't seen it yet.
Don't worry, brother. I sent it to you. We got it there, man. And we're going to be talking about that, man. A lot of great stuff going on in media. And we're going to have some stuff to talk about for a couple of weeks, man. In fact, I sent you a little breakdown of what our June is going to look like. June 4th, that's today. We got the Acolyte. June 13th, we got The Boys. June 16th, we got House of Dragon, and June 27th, The Bear. So
this is gonna be good. Yeah, I have a feeling where I think and that's just TV, and of course there's movies. We got all sorts of fun stuff coming out, like Alien and Deadpool and Wolverine. It's gonna be entertainment's coming back, and I love it. Pokey says, go back to making Has Delgado movies. Meanwhile, Nakai in the hizzle. How are you, brother? He said, liberals be like, I'm woke, but also NIMBY. He also says, love that effing logo. Damn, thank you very much, man. Good to have you in. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. My man, Steven, where do you want to begin?
All right, so let's start. Let's land here, right? So Alien, the franchise, Predator, the franchise, they were in a weird space, right? We finally got the AVP crossover that we had all been asking for. And we have one movie to thank for that. That would be Freddy versus Jason, kicking off the entire versus saga of movies, right?
You know what it is? Here's the thing. The history of the versus movie actually goes back in time to like the 50s. That was like a thing that they had, like monsters, or like the 50-foot woman versus the swamp monster or whatever. And but they had a reputation for being cheesy, stupid cash grabs.
Yeah.
And so in modern age of movies, they didn't make them. They were like, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Why would Freddy Jason have a fight? That doesn't make any sense. But they didn't realize it's what we were craving.
And man, that fight scene between Freddy and Jason, that was quite possibly some of the best choreography I'd seen in that era.
That is a good movie.
But I want to say that the AVP series, man, it was a flop. I liked the second one, but it was still cheesy.
They keep going with those, but I do like one-offs or whatever.
So we got Aliens rebooted with Prometheus, right? And it was a reboot. Make no mistake about it, it was a reboot. And then we had Alien Requiem, which I enjoyed. In fact, I saw that in the movie theater in LA, bro. And I left that theater. You know when you go see a somber movie and it has a really fucked up somber ending like that movie did, and you realize the protagonist died off screen in a very horrible way.
Alien franchise be doing that.
Yes.
Between movies, they'll be like, one of the heroes will get into his pod and then he'll fly off, and then the next movie you see he's dead, like he died in Kronos. And you're like, what the hell? Not even a hero's death. Monk's death.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? As I was thinking about this topic tonight, my brother, I thought back to some of the Alien movies, like Aliens 3, man, with Charles Dutton, aka the real Rock. That was actually a really good movie. I don't know if you've ever seen the director's cut. It was also amazing. Very dark. That was the one where
I saw the director's cut, but it's all on the prison planet, right?
Yeah, the prison planet, and it was just like very epic. I remember my stepdad taking me to see that movie, and I was just like, "Wow, this is actually a really good enjoy." So now we have Romulus, which I'm trying to figure out if it takes place after.
I'm thinking it's a reboot. I think that it is a reboot. I think I heard that somewhere.
Well, I got the trailer up if you want to watch it. It's fair use. Everyone's reacting to it. I don't know why YouTube only hits smaller, non-corporatized channels like ourselves, but god damn it, it's fair use, and we're gonna watch it and enjoy it together. And
I will be interrupting it, to hinder their ability to not fair use it. But
here's another thing, man. Since we got the young brother Nakai in here, man, and he took that beautiful shot at the liberals. I would like to know from anyone in the militant revolutionary community, if you guys are going to be voting for Joe Biden this year.
That is the good question. That is the good question, because as our boy Shaolin just phrased earlier, he said he thinks that Trump is going to get his ass whooped, but we're screwed either way. Notice he put that part into it. Yeah. And so, do people feel happy about voting for Biden? Do they feel joyous and like, I can't wait to vote for a mummy man?
I don't think so, man. I really do think people are just fed up with their options. But here we go. Alien Romulus trailer, man.
Oh, real quick. Shaolin says, I like the one with Sana Lathan.
Sanaa Lathan? Yeah, man. She's that's
Which
the
one is
first
that? Which one is
that's
that?
The first AVP movie. She's the beautiful black woman that's in there. She's also she plays Blade's mother. You remember Blade? It was a movie that came out.
Oh, she's fine. Yo, and that was the thing that upset me in Blade. I was like, who's this fine, sexy girl in front of him? And it turns out to be his mom. And I was like, oh, this is awkward. And she's banging Frost. Spoiler alert. Here it goes. Let's check out something.
Is this really where you want to spend the rest of your life?
Oh, that chick is from Civil War. Okay.
Beautifully shot.
This is our only ticket out of here.
Yeah. Oh, I love Don't Breathe.
Missed that sound, right? The motion
Yeah.
sound.
The motion. Oh my
happening?
There's something in the water.
What do you mean there's something in the
No,
water?
there's just something in the fucking water.
Oh my goodness.
Fucking thing's hunting us.
Open the door, come on.
Run.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yo, I forgot to pause it or talk over it because I was like, solving. Finally, it's back to aliens hunting astronauts, which is really like where Alien does its best work, right?
Right. Don't
That
get me wrong.
girl.
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
you go.
Don't get me wrong, man. I love aliens hunting astronauts, but I do love a good commando fighting aliens as well, man.
That's
like
too, yeah.
that's what made Aliens the superior movie, in my opinion, because it was, the first one you're like, this is a bunch of ragtag janitors out in space. Of course they're gonna get screwed over by these aliens. But when the Marines are having trouble, when the Space Marines, and who doesn't love the commander? And there's like another day in the Corps. I love being a Marine.
Oh my god, I love it. I love all the Marines and all Vasquez.
Yes.
Some of them, they all go out like heroes. They're all like, it's a super alpha movie. I agree. I think it's one of the few times that the sequel is better than the original.
Yes.
In
It's
terms of-
Aliens and Godfather 2 unanimously seen as the superior movies in regards to sequels. Looks amazing, right? I'm cautious. I would not mind if they continued the story from Requiem with David. I was one of the few people in the minority who didn't have an issue with the weird robot being the progenitor of the aliens.
The god of the god of the aliens is a human robot who's handsome, and he's Magneto too. Okay, I did have a problem with that. I thought that was weird. That was a weird choice. But.
He's just playing with his dolls, making human xenomorphs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's got a whole ship to play with. So looking at it, right, they're on some type of space station. I was hoping that it's the space station that David was on when we ended in Requiem. I would love to see that entire thing wrapped up. One of my biggest complaints from Requiem was like, after them making such a big deal in Prometheus about the engineers, to just kind of wipe out that planet and us not really get to understand them anymore, rubbed me the wrong way. But
they kept doing. You know what I didn't like about that saga, and I admit I like Prometheus, and stuff. The thing is, they kept doing things off camera.
Right.
Like David goes to the alien world,
Yeah.
and then he comes back, and we don't get to see it.
What do you mean? What? No, in Requiem?
Between the movies, like I feel like they like doing that. They like doing things all off camera.
Yeah, it's also very strange. If you're gonna kill off a main character like Shaw, you should have done that on screen, which they included some of that in the director's cut. David kind of experimenting on her body and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. That's so bizarre that they chose to do it off camera.
You got to show it, but I'm amped up to see this, man. I'm gonna go check it out, man. We'll probably see this in the theater.
Oh, opening day. Pokey says SD Bob Snake Plissken from Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Yeah.
Yes.
Pokey says we could do that versus the AI overlords. Hell yeah. Nakai says that looks dope. It does look dope. Loving this.
Yes. We got some stuff in the theater, man. Maybe there was something to what Jennifer Lopez was saying. MCU was on top for so long we forgot there was other good content, or maybe y'all just weren't making good movies, and that's why people were going to see MCU movies instead. I don't know. It could be one of the two things, right?
Here's what it is. Whatever statement I'm gonna go with, because I'm lost in the sauce right now, is that I will never discredit Marvel. Making Marvel like modern adaptations of Marvel movies was clever. It was pretty brilliant if you think about it.
Yeah.
For a while there, they made great movies.
Yeah.
And I you know what it is? I don't think non-superhero movies were stupid, and I don't think the other, I don't think the other thing is true. I just think that it was their time to shine,
Right.
and they shined, and now they're dim light, and there's only a few and far between good ones.
Yeah, no, I'm not mad at it at all, man. But speaking of movies about aliens,
Right.
go for it.
So you're gonna play that trailer, but I've got a follow up. Breaking our one film per topic thing. I've got something to talk about. I assume you're bringing up Venom.
Yes.
Yes. And so what it is I brought you a Tyrone Magnus story probably like 2 weeks ago,
Right.
where he claimed that he had heard that it was about time travel and fucking with a young Peter Parker, and this trailer did not show any of that. But now he's another video of Tyrone, which I wish us to watch a little of. He's making more different claims.
Oh, yeah. Do you have the video queued up by any chance?
I do.
Man, let's check it out, man. Shout out to Tyrone again. Go ahead.
Or should we watch the trailer first?
Let's watch the Venom trailer first, man, because again, I'm still mad at the Venom franchise for what they did to Maximum Carnage. That movie was horrible. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. There isn't a director cut out there that can save that movie, man. That movie was bad. Straight up.
Right. And so how do you mess up Carnage? That's the question. But I'm one of those guys who didn't here's what it is. I was kind of okay with the original Venom, but I didn't love it. Yeah, I don't think either of those Venom movies were very good. I don't think they're horrible, but I think they could have made better Venom movies. Let me put it like that.
Absolutely. And it just proves again that Sony has no idea, none other than animated features, what to do with these properties, man. The saving grace for the Sony comic universe is, we can all agree, the Spider-Man Miles Morales movies. That both of those movies were amazing. Looking forward to the third one. I love that they are kept on such a short leash, and I said it in regards to the Spider-Man with Tom Holland. I would die on that hill, bro. They need to be checked. Anytime Sony sends a representative over to the writer's room, I'm like, get that guy and sit his ass in the corner.
Get him the fuck out of here. Yeah, no, I am.
As soon as he starts saying anything, as soon as he starts talking, like, here's what I think. And I'm like, no.
And so here's my conspiracy theory about it all. Okay,
right.
I believe that all these crazy movies that Sony's coming out with, I don't know the full story behind the camera, but they're you know what it is? I think they're threatening the MCU. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to get more money out of the MCU. Like, they're extorting them. And they're like, if you don't give us a better deal, we'll just keep putting out crap. Like, we'll have an entire movie where Spider-Man just sits on the toilet and has a bowel movement. Oh yeah, we're gonna love that one. They're like, what other characters can we make movies out of? And they're just flipping through the books, and they just keep threatening Feige, and Feige's like, we have to give him more money.
So I agree with that. And remember, I floated a theory about this in regards to the WB. They're like, we can't beat them, so we'll saturate the market. Everything we make will be closely associated with them because it's a comic movie. Then we'll pay J-Lo's bum ass, right, to shit on everything and all the fucking whack actors who don't deserve to be recognized in any critically acclaimed way will join in the chant comic book movies are ruining. I think I agree. Sony releases this shit on purpose. Someone sat at the high table when Madam Web was being released and like, this is the one. Release it. Release it now. It's gonna
because Madam Web was next level garbage.
Yeah, right.
Like I think someone would have to put effort into making a bad movie like that.
They had to try, man.
They really had to try. And I really do think that Amy Pascal went into the writer's room and she said, do your worst, boys. Do your worst.
Bring in the CW writers.
Yeah, the writers of the Legends of Tomorrow are like, you're up in there.
Like, we're ready to go. You know what's crazy? I was just watching a breakdown of the Sony MCU team up and like how that all came to be and where it stands now. And I forgot that Amy Pascal was in the center of an email controversy once upon a time where some remember when Sony got
Yes. And so a lot of people forget this. She dropped an N-bomb in an email. Yeah, she dropped an N-bomb in an email. Another thing, she is Angelina Jolie. They were talking about casting her for a movie, and she's like, she's a minimally talented hack.
Mm-hmm.
And like she said all this crazy shit. And actually, this is the craziest story ever. And I think everybody forgets it because so many years ago. But like the emails got hacked, and Amy Pascal is like proven to be a racist piece of garbage, right? And Sony actually fired her.
Yeah.
However, contractually, she was stuck as the producer of Spider-Man.
Yep.
So anywhere Spider-Man went, she went. Yeah. And then Marvel would end up doing this deal with Sony to keep making Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and therefore she got to be the producer on that, earn that money, earn that fame, and now she's more powerful than ever.
Yeah, it's the perfect position to be in, man. I've worked for one producer my entire life, and I was like, oh, you really don't do shit. Like, you really don't do shit.
You don't write it, you don't perform it, you don't literally do nothing.
Like your level of involvement in these movies is so minuscule compared to the impact that your name has if you do something scandalous. But I'm glad you brought up the contractual part, because that's why she's tied in on it. That's why Kevin Feige's had to sit in those horrible interviews when she had that horrible wig on. And he's just sitting there like, you can see he just wanted to bash her brains in. And I know it was a family show, but like there was a point where he just looked like he wanted to just be like, oh yeah, out of you.
Because I'm sure like all men, he thinks that if he had his way and no one was in his way, he would be super successful right now. And there always have to be these weirdos who get in his way.
Yeah.
Right. And so oh my God, that's funny. But speaking of producers, I'm not going to name drop right now, but a former boss of mine who's a producer, he took an independent comic book that he has no connection to. He just read it and he brought it to a studio and said, you should make this into a series. They are now making it into an AMC series. He hasn't been involved in any of it, and he keeps getting checks from them. And his name is going to be on the credits as a producer just because he introduced them to the comic.
Wow. That is the most disheartening thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like it literally is, man. It literally is amazing the way that the system works. I was talking to my employer the other day, and my employer said, hey, there's this personality test trait that I think you should take. She's like, I think that you are what's called a needs to be acknowledged. Like you need people to acknowledge the things that you're doing. And I was like,
you told her to go fuck herself, right?
And I'm like, is this another one of this company's quasi take on psychology and stuff like that? And this person's like, yes, it is. I was like, all right, so let me set the record straight on something. If there is a record kept of the things that I have failed at work, I think there should be a record kept of my wins at work. That doesn't have anything to do with me needing to be acknowledged. That's just the way it should be. Now, here's my problem with producers and these fucking parasites in the industry that get paid, or just upper management, period. Very few of them can actually do their job. Most of them, I'm about to prove you right, fall upwards, right? But they're not educated people. They just fall upwards. A bunch of people got laid off and they were the last person standing, and they're like, hey, you are the person for the job.
They're like, someone has to run the company. You were fired. You at the end. Promotion, executive. Dude's eating a sandwich. He's like,
what? So that's my problem with the industry right now. Politics, all of this stuff, man. YouTube, the whole thing is rigged, right? The talentless get rewarded for being in the right place at the right time. Meanwhile, motherfuckers like us get pushed off a ledge. We're the guy that designed the Death Star and is standing at that thing like, hey, this is a huge problem. Why is there...
Sir, I've been telling you about this vent all week. We need to armor up the vent. And then boom, you're done. You don't get an escape pod.
Yeah, exactly.
Tarkin's got an escape pod. Vader's got an escape pod. You got shit.
Oh man, but speaking of shit, so here we have what is a very controversial trailer, right? Reviewers, commenters are going at it right now because there's going to be a scene, and I'm going to see if you pick up on it yourself.
I know it. I know it's got, because I've seen people talking on X.
People are very upset. People are very upset.
Real quick, Nakai says, honestly, Folks are tired of the vote for me or else tactics, aka lesser evil. Nope, he doesn't have my vote. Regardless, Biden is in trouble with the younger gen, and they have zero incentive. I agree with you, man.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
yeah.
Shaolin says, I still haven't watched any Venom movies. Without Spider-Man in them, none of them make sense to me. I agree with you. It was really hard for me to watch that first Venom movie. And then actually, I had to watch 2 because of Carnage.
Right.
I love Carnage, and they really got him seriously wrong in that movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. They completely screwed that up, man. This one here, right? So let's rewind a little bit before we watch the trailer. At the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, one of the biggest circle jerks to ever happen in the MCU was Venom coming over into that universe just to be teleported out, right? But at the end, we saw the symbiote on the bar.
And he left a little baby symbiote there.
Little baby symbiote. And that made it worth it. I was like, okay, I'm okay with that. Because I kept waiting for Venom to show up to rip the lizard's head off. Anything during that movie that made sense. But I was okay with that small scene. So I want to keep in the backdrop. We're in the multiversal saga. We got Mordor. What's this guy's name in the MCU?
Mordo.
We got Mordo, whatever the motherfucker's name is. We got him, the actor, in this universe, playing some type of soldier.
Yeah, okay. And I say don't spoil too much of it. We'll talk about it after they see it.
Hit it.
Right?
My home has found us.
Fellas.
You should probably know that I have a really dark and unpredictable side to me. Stop speaking. I'm giving you a chance, sweetie.
Say when.
When? What are you? We are.
We're Venom!
We are.
Venom!
No.
Oh!
Yeah, we are. Venom. We're gonna need to work on that.
Delicious! You take me to all the finest places.
I need to tie up those.
That voice, that Venom voice, man. It kills me every time. Every time I'm like, oh god.
We always knew it was impossible,
Because they could have made a real monster's voice.
Oh, absolutely.
Campy.
that we were alone in the universe.
It's only
There he
so
is.
behind. There it is.
And it's our job to make sure that remains a secret.
Let's go get him.
Oh, shit! We are fugitives. On the run. In the shit.
Beyond the tree, my friend.
You mean it?
No!
I mean, trailers got me interested. Not that far.
There has to be a reason they're after us.
Did you also catch that cameo?
Yeah.
Eddie, my home, has found us. Jesus Christ!
There's an army coming that cannot be beaten.
As long as Venom lives, everyone, everything will end.
We may not make it out of this alive, buddy.
Eddie, the time has come.
Be honest with me. How fast do you think you can get that thing to go without killing it?
Only one way to find out.
Yeah.
So you know what's funny? I will say this though. As much as it seems like I was shitting on 1 and 2, I will say they're kind of all right. Here's what I'll say. They were better. Both of them were better than the Marvels, Both of them were
Yeah.
better than the Eternals. Right? But both of them are better than Iron Man 2 or Thor
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so, I mean, they are what they are, basically, right? But there is something cute about them.
Shaolin says basura. You know what's crazy about this? So we got two actors in this movie where, again, remember I said let's keep the multiverse as a backdrop. So we have the gentleman who plays Modo or whatever his freaking name is, and then we have the gentleman who played Doc Connors in the Jeep, the van with the hippies.
Right.
So wild speculations have been approved because you see the scene where Homeboy puts the little tube over the symbiote, which is the same bar that
the
Eddie
Tiki
Brock,
bar, the Tiki bar, right?
Same bar that Eddie Brock was in, and at the end of No Way Home with the same bartender. But it's the multiverse. Remember, he got teleported back to his universe.
Right. So the Tiki bar should be, or here's what I'm saying: even if there was a Tiki bar in Venom's universe, that's his Tiki bar is not where he dropped the symbiote. He dropped it in the MCU version of that.
Right.
And so people are speculating, what is this dude doing? What is the Mordo dude? He's probably not Mordo because he doesn't seem to be acting or seem like he's Mordo.
No, at all.
But what is he doing there? Is he does he go to the MCU?
No.
Probably not, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm calling it. But if they wanted to pull themselves out, so if Sony's being a bunch of petty betties and they're saying, no, we're going to keep Venom for our Spider-Man whenever we do our shit, that could have been one of the things they had to work out with Marvel, where they're like, no, we're not having Venom come over because we can't run the chance of you making a more successful version of it than what we've created. Because let's just keep it real. The first Venom movie, even though I thought it was trash, made $1 billion. And that, because of that movie, I had to deal with all the other bullshit Sony had lined up coming out too. Thank God Craven's probably going to get shelved, and the only way you're going to find that is in the back of a comic book store on the VHS, where you should find these type of things. Right?
Here's the thing. I think here's what it is. I think it should be shelved. A wise man would shelve it. I have a feeling they're not because they have no sense.
None.
They have no sense over there.
No, and none, my brother. And here's the crazy thing. You know, we always talk about the obvious thing being the thing to do. They have two obvious candidates for their Spider-Man universe if they really just wanted to stick it to Marvel, right? One being the video game Spider-Man. I know your feelings on video game properties becoming movie properties and impacting the larger lore, but it would just make more sense. The Peter Parker and the Miles Morales they have in the video game is superior to this bullshit and any other bullshit they're thinking about doing, right? And
here's what I'm saying, just to argue that. I understand that. However, no movie producer or writer's room is gonna give up control of the lore to what something video games already did.
And see, that right there is the problem. And you're about to make my point, because here's the problem, right? We have idiots at the helms. We have a bunch of artists who just don't understand, like, oh man, fans seem to enjoy this thing. Let's see if we can stay true to this thing and make it bigger and have them come enjoy it. Or just simply say, hey, we're seeing a lot of success with the animated interpretation of these characters. We're going to bring the live action. It's not an L for you, man. It's not an L if you give us a live action Miles Morales based off of the animated. It's not an L. You just have to have that team work on the live action. I would not bring my unsuccessful team to take over any project that my successful team is doing, right? That's like me saying that I order Chinese food exclusively from the bad place because I had good Chinese food at the good place. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? When we were up in Washington Heights,
right,
there were two Chinese food restaurants.
Right.
One immediately by the train station and one just a little further down. For me, the one by the train station was superior.
Right.
But for some reason, they closed 2 hours earlier than the other place.
So if you wanted late night, you had to go to, I believe it was called Number One Chinese Food Restaurant. Yeah. I think it was its actual name.
To get the inferior version. Yeah. I don't think this is, hopefully, I'm hoping this doesn't impact the MCU Spider-Man interpretation. I know that this is at the root of all the conspiracies you were talking about last week and all the stupid leaks, but I think that, you know, that would just be bad business for everyone involved, man.
So here's my wish list for this. However, they'd if they did this, it's unbelievable that they have writers or producers who would think to do this. Here's what would be amazing, right?
Right.
First one, that is Mordo. And he is jumping through dimensions, and it becomes a surprise in the movie.
Right.
That he's not just some random military guy, that there's some larger picture to this, and he is hunting through dimensions. That would be so much fun, right?
That would be fun. Yeah.
And then the other one, and I have a feeling that this is what Tyrone Magnus was going to get at. I finally realized where Tyrone Magnus was getting it. The other cameo in the thing was Dr. Connors, right?
Yes.
So,
Or the actor who plays Dr. Connors.
So the question is, would it be cool if he is Dr. Connors and that they take place in, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe, and they have an Amazing Spider-Man 3 where Andrew Garfield fights this Venom? That would be utterly amazing, but I don't think they're smart enough to pull that off.
Yeah, I don't think they're smart. It would be amazing, and I don't think they're smart enough to pull that off in a way that makes sense, man. But it would be great, man. I honestly, here's my thing, brother. This needs to come to an end. It's too convoluted. It doesn't make any sense. It was a cash grab that just made it off the abortion table, and it just kept going. It's a prom night dumpster baby. And that's what it is, man. It's a prom night dumpster baby, and this shit needs to come to an end.
I love that phrase, by the way. I don't know if I've ever told you how much a prom night dumpster baby warms my heart. I just think that, like, I cannot fathom Venom. This is why I want to believe that there's going to be an Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Venom being the villain. I can't even deal with the idea that they would have 3 Venom movies and he has no connection to Spider-Man and he never has a single fight with Spider-Man. That is the most insane thing that has ever happened.
And also, let us not forget that Sony is the king at fucking the bait and switch and dropping the ball. Remember when Morbius was coming out? The picture that had the internet buzzing.
Oh, that's right. They had the PS Spider-Man on the wall.
Yes, yeah. They had Spider-Man on the wall and they had the word murderer written over it, and it never went anywhere. Never went anywhere.
Imagine the SOB who put that in. Like, he knew it wasn't part of the movie, and he's just like, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we digitally put in like a fake poster that alludes to the MCU?
Yeah, it was absolutely a nothing burger, man. But there it is, Venom: The Last Dance, folks. I don't know what to make of it. We don't know what to make of it, but I'm just not letting it impact me in any way, shape, or form. Until it does.
Well, let's see what Tyrone Magnus has to say. We don't have to watch the full video, but I would like to see what his crazy theory is.
Absolutely.
Because I think it's very similar to my Andrew Garfield one.
Yeah. Shout out to the OG. Shout out to Tyrone Magnus, man.
Sony just did some major retconning to their Spider-Man universe. And while a lot of people do understand that Sony doesn't necessarily care about continuity, I mean, come on, what was with that Morbius post-credit scene? We're still wondering why Sony put Venom into the MCU in the Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene.
Right, why bother doing it? Why?
Out of the MCU and put him back into the original Venom universe in the Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene, but left a piece of the symbiote behind in the MCU so Tom Holland's Spider-Man could eventually...
And real quick, common speculation, although I've essentially heard speculation about every Spider-Man villain ever, but speculation was because of this end credit scene, they're like, maybe Tom Holland will get his own Venom from this.
Right.
And it's possible. It's certainly possible. However, I've heard people speculate every villain ever has been rumored to be in Spider-Man 4. So.
Right.
With Venom, only to seemingly undo all of that in Venom 3, The Last Dance, with what we saw in the new trailer released yesterday. That combined with seeing Rhys Ifans return in the trailer, who played Lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, left a lot of fans wondering what the heck is actually going on. But I think I might know what Sony is actually planning here.
Okay,
And
okay.
I think it has to do with Sony's plans for a new/old Spider-Man universe with Andrew Garfield returning as Spider-Man himself. In fact, the 10-year-old Peter Parker that is supposed to be in Venom 3, I think might actually be Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. And yes, there are some continuity issues with that, but again, Sony doesn't necessarily care about that. Plus, not to mention, you could add a multiverse aspect to it, but we'll get to that later.
There's no way that kid was Peter
What's
Parker.
interesting is that Sony already had plans for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to return. Now, rumors about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire returning as Spider-Man once again after Spider-Man No Way Home really haven't stopped since the movie came out.
Right.
And as we move closer towards Avengers Secret
I just want to quickly say he calls him Spider-Man. He's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man. What fucking country are you from, bro? Come on. He's probably Canadian.
in the MCU, we hear even more rumors that both of them,
Come on.
Tobey and Andrew, are going to return. And the biggest rumor after Spider-Man No Way Home was that Sony was actually really pleased with the crowd's reaction, the fans' reactions to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. And let's be honest, it was an awesome redemption arc for him. Many people loved what happened in that movie with Andrew Garfield. Well, the rumors that Sony wanted
Almost
Andrew
made me
Garfield
cry
to
on that
return
part.
were confirmed with Madam Web. If you didn't know, Andrew Garfield was
supposed to be
in Madam Web.
Yeah.
The plot was pretty much kind of like Venom 3, actually. In fact, it kind of seems like they basically took the Peter Parker plot out of Madam Web to use in Venom 3. And perhaps that's why the movie kind of doesn't really make a lot of sense. And Dakota Johnson did state that the script that she was given was not really anything like what we saw on screen. And since we know Spider-Man was supposed to be in the film, we even have official concept art of Spider-Man in Madam Web fighting Ezekiel Sims, the main villain. We know that what was changed about the movie was indeed Peter Parker / Spider-Man. Now, Sony originally intended for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to be in the film. However, they eventually decided to use Tom Holland's Spider-Man instead.
Right, and then
but
they-
then, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you view this, they realized that the timeline was wrong, so they reshot and they removed everything referencing Spider-Man and a particular year.
It's a Spider-Man spin-off movie with no Spider-Man. Does that make any sense?
It kind of revolved around Spider-Man that didn't end up having anything to do with Spider-Man at all. Barely. But clearly, what this establishes is that Sony did have plans for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Now, for some reason, they decided to remove Andrew Garfield's specific Spider-Man from the film.
I don't
They
think you're
still
the
wanted a
Spider-Man that
in the
saved
film,
them.
So they were going to go with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So, if Spider-Man was still going to be in the film, why take Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man away? In fact, I think many people would have rather seen Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in that film than Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But we got nothing.
I am
So-
telling you, when they were making Madam Web, they probably threatened at the MCU, and they were like, "We'll put Tom Holland in this movie, and he contractually has to." And like, we will ruin Tom Holland Spider-Man if you do not pay out, man.
This is so wild to me that this company is just like rewrite, like it, just
It's like it's nothing. Like it's nothing.
it's absolutely.
Did you notice that, or have you heard about the complaints, or did you notice when you watched it the whole thing with Ezekiel Sims' mouth?
No.
If you pay attention to the words you hear on here and his mouth, they're not synced up.
Oh no, I didn't notice that at all.
Because they recorded dialogue after the fact. He's saying different words, and they tried to just jam in dialogue.
So you're talking to a guy who didn't know that the Henry Cavill mustache situation in Justice League. I was like, what? It was digitized. To this day, I still can't tell. So, but
The
here's
digital upper lip.
the Ezekiel Sims. They'll never get a do-over on that, man, because he's actually a footnote in Spider-Man. Like he's great for that story,
he's
and
such
then
a
he
minor-
dies in the comics. But now, like he was reduced to some like character. It was insane.
Yeah, is it all right before we move on? Because I don't think we need to finish all of Tyrone. No offense, Tyrone, my man. Is it all right if I if I just pitch an idea for you? My idea for Amazing Spider-Man #3.
I would love to hear it.
Venom being the villain. Why they fight? Who the hell knows? They could be Venom could be put up to it. It could be some paper thing bullshit. As long as the fight doesn't get broken up in a way that's as stupid as Batman v Superman, I'm fine with the reasons they're gonna fight, right?
Right.
However, Another thing that they should do is Oscorp should use the spider DNA to clone Gwen Stacy.
Okay.
And she could be Spider. That universe is Spider Gwen. And he now, since he died in 2, he'd have to deal with this clone.
Right.
And it would like blow his mind and all these things. And maybe she could start out a villain and he could turn her to the good side and stuff. And,
I like that.
and stuff like that. So I think those would be the heavy features: Spider-Gwen and Venom. And then it's Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man. Yeah, that would be an amazing movie. Boom.
Here, I think that would be an amazing movie. And here's how I know it could work, right? I've watched exactly 2 Kong versus Godzilla movies, and they've both been amazing. If they can figure out how to make an atomic lizard and giant fucking simian entertain me for damn near 2 hours, this is an easy one to hit out the park. But again, it's Sony, man. It's Sony, and like everyone, Sony is still dealing with the issue that the WB was. They're trying to play catch up on something you cannot redo. The Infinity Saga cannot be redone. If you didn't start your expanded universe when you were supposed to, there's no catching up to that shit, right?
Right.
We were all invested in that shit. No time for other shit. It's time to scale back and make linear. Make a linear line that's easy to understand, easy to follow. You're right. I don't need to know why Venom and Spider-Man are fighting. I just need there to be a reason for them to be in the same room, and the conflict should work itself out.
And as long as the fight, here's what it is. Fans for movies like this, and I'm not saying all superhero movies are stupid, because like look at the Captain America franchise. They have some really intelligent movies in those. But what I'm saying for this particular fight, it's Venom. You don't have to have a good reason. You don't have to have a deep reason. As long as the fights are cool fights, people will see that movie over and over again.
Absolutely, man.
Watching Venom and Spider-Man do crazy things, throw cars, catch cars, do crazy things with the webs throughout New York City, people will love that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I know we're about to move on, man, and our segments that we have coming up are more political. Is there anything any other? Well, let's talk about the Acolyte. Let's talk about the Acolyte, because
let's talk Acolyte. We have to, because after this stream, I am going to go straight to watching a boatload of Acolyte.
I know, we kind of missed the ball. We should have done a watch party, but it would have been too preemptive. There's too much technical shit that goes into watch parties sometimes. I got to grab my other laptop, and it's just madness, bro.
One of the things I don't like is that they switched the release. I was expecting it last night at
me
3
too.
a.m.
Me
and
too.
I tried staying up. And I was like, I ended up falling asleep. I was like, whatever, I'll watch it tomorrow. And then they've changed it to 9 p.m.
Absolute madness. Do you want to watch the final trailer that they released with the fight scene, or is that too much? You're gonna like too much spoiler stuff? Because here's what I took from that.
Watch it, so I don't need to.
Here's what I took from that final trailer and watching the fight scene with the young lady and Trinity is that they put a lot, or attempted to put a lot, into the choreography. I do think that we hit the nail on the head in regard to this is going to be one of those stories that's really dark, hopefully, where, yes, I know all of Star Wars is about Jedis dying, but in this subterfuge way, I feel like this might be their attempt. You can quote me on this, because I'm okay with being wrong. Well, how cool would it be if this was their Winter Soldier? Think about that for a second.
It would be freaking amazing.
Let that simmer in, where this is just like, holy shit, man, this is way darker than I thought. And some of the reviews I've been watching, people are just like, man, I am really attached to the antagonist in this film, in this show. And I was like, that's really cool. They're like, the Jedis are kind of like a second thought, but we're all used to that now with Star Wars. Everyone comes to Star Wars now for everything but the Jedis, right? How cool would it be if it's just like, man, you just got ominous shit going every 3 seconds? That would be freaking amazing, bro.
Right.
Absolutely amazing, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. I have to admit, I'm looking forward to it, in spite of all the political undertones and the message is strong with this shit and all that stuff. It's good that we can all at some point still be somewhat excited about some of our favorite properties, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. And before we get any further into the Acolyte, because I think we really should discuss more, I do want to quickly say something at Marvel. Another thing happened today at Marvel. More bad news for Marvel. Do you know what it is?
No, what happened?
So, not a major character, should be a major character if these were the comic books, or they were accurate to the comic books, but a B-level hero has stopped acting. That is Evangeline Lilly, the Wasp, has decided she wants to raise her family and not be involved with acting anymore. And so, as I say, Marvel, they've had her in 5 movies already. She hasn't done anything, really, of significance. So you can easily say, whatever, there's the door. But the problem is like Marvel can't even keep its B-level heroes.
I don't think that has to do with Marvel Studios. I think that has to do with her own political beliefs and the way she wants to live her life. And remember, she caught a lot of mire from the general public in regards to COVID and allowing her daughter to participate in certain activities. So I think it has to do with more of that. But on the flip side of that, another actor has declared, who actually had a reoccurring role and is a big part of the MCU, that he is staying. He is not suffering from the curse of, I need to go off and explore my thespian side. Chris Pratt has said, without a shadow of a doubt, he is returning to the MCU. And I just want to thank him for that, bro. I just want to thank him for having the balls to recognize this is probably the best thing that's ever happened in my freaking career.
Well, I do. I love that. And you are absolutely right. Because remember, he was the fat guy. That's right. He was fat on Parks and Recreation.
Right.
And he left that. He got the part of Star-Lord when he was on it, and he left and he got jacked for the role. But I have to say, like, so he does. He's loyal and he's cool, and I do like that about him. But another thing is, I got to say, he is possibly, you have to factor in, we can factor in who is eligible to be an Avenger. But another thing is how many are actually liked.
Right.
And I have to say that out of all the characters, I would say Star-Lord is beloved. I think everyone loves him. I love him. I think he's great. I would love to see how he operates outside of the rest of the team, so that's a good thing. So it'd be cool if he came down to Earth and he was on the Avengers for a little bit. Maybe switch up his costume or something like that. It would be wonderful because they have a serious charisma problem with the Avengers.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, it makes sense that Shuri is the Black Panther, but she has 0 charisma.
None.
I do not like her as the Black Panther.
Right.
Shang-Chi, I guess he's all right. Captain Marvel. Please let me never see her again.
And poor Anthony Mackie, who is, by the way, just a genuine nice guy. I don't know if you know the story of Anthony Mackie going into a Walmart or something like that and signing a bunch of Falcon posters, and they asked him to leave because he was just signing them, and he's like, no, I play this character. And it's like, that's the real shit.
That's
and
amazing.
Also, even Star Wars Girl had something nice to say about Anthony Mackie when he was doing an interview and Star Wars came up, and he was like, hold on for a second. And he starts grabbing memorabilia that's near and dear to him for Star Wars during the interview and showing it. And you could tell it was an organic moment. He owned this shit, man. He's charismatic.
I can't, that is beautiful. I'm like, my heart is warmed right now.
Right? He's charismatic.
I love to hear that.
But they just haven't used him in the appropriate way because Sam Wilson's a difficult character. He's a sidekick, right? I hate to say it. Sam Wilson is a sidekick. Rhodey is a sidekick, and they have never been used in a meaningful way in the comics. So it's even more difficult to make us buy into it in the movies.
So you know what they did? You know what they did wrong in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? And I think they did this with everything probably except Wanda. For those shows, it's funny that they made the Disney Plus shows not required viewing. So characters start one way and they end not very changed. That way, so if someone hasn't seen it, they don't get confused in the movie. And that is the exact wrong thing that they should have done. In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he should have manned up. He should have beaten the crap out of U.S. Agent. Right. And they should have made him graduate to the A-lister that I know he can be.
Absolutely. And there's still time to redeem him in this new movie, but they don't know how to do it.
And you know what they do? They haven't, this annoys me so much. They haven't beat Batroc the Leaper. I understand he fought Captain America, but he's not a serious villain. It doesn't make me take him serious. They're like, look, well, he beat Batroc the Leaper. Fuck, what? He should have beaten every super soldier on that scene. He should have destroyed them.
You know what's great though, man? I do have to admit, I rewatched that once a ways back, and it really is the second time. It's a lot easier to get through because the show was really great up until that final episode, and it was a great buddy situation. I love that they streamlined the costume, but you're right, they have a charisma problem, and I think that if Star-Lord and Anthony Mackie be figured out, we still have Bucky, who's still everyone's favorite brooding heterosexual character.
But have you heard
what?
He's not going to be in the next Avengers movie because now he's a Thunderbolt.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay. Well, let's see if the Thunderbolts are good. That's another thing. I don't want to transfer to a shitty team.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because here's what needs to happen, right? No B-listers on the Avengers, right? We got to get the Avengers ready to take on the most powerful team in all of Marvel's franchise. Everything now, my brother, has to be about why would I think that these people stand a chance against mutants?
Right. But also, but at the end of the day, you have to have a team. I don't even think it's about that. I don't think it's about power levels per se. It is likability. You do want the hero. You want the kids to say, "Well, these guys are cool."
Absolutely. I want that. But also at a certain point, you're going to have to convince the tryhards, the diehards, what is Shang-Chi really going to do when confronted by Storm?
Right. And another thing, this is my problem. This is my problem with Falcon the Winter Soldier. At the end of the series of Falcon the Winter Soldier, both Anthony Mackie's character and Baron Zemo should have been exposed to the Super Soldier Serum.
Absolutely.
Because they both have it in the comic books.
Yes.
But so I don't understand how I'm going to watch a movie and I expect the Falcon. He's not only doing the shield acrobatics, but he's also flying, and he does it without serum. Come on, man.
Yeah, and at that velocity, you need to have some secret juice in your system to make sure you're doing things correctly.
And so to believe that he's powerful, they should really just give him the sauce.
Yeah, give him the sauce, man. I'm thinking about taking steroids, man, just for the hell of it. I'm not going to work out or anything. I'm just going to take steroids.
You know what the thing was is they had the perfect opportunity in that series because once it got out with the terrorists and stuff like that, he could have been exposed to it and it could have been against his will. So he could have still been morally against steroids, but ultimately end up being affected by them.
Absolutely.
And they could have it both ways.
Since we're still talking comics and I'm enjoying this conversation, since you and Shaolin, a little fan-made video. I know you're not the biggest fan-made guy, but I was like, man, you got to watch this. The fan-made Logan.
Oh, I love it. Here's what I'm saying. At the beginning, I was like, Logan was never a Viking. What is this crap? Read a comic book, you bums. But I finally realized what they were doing. It's basically like a what if Logan was, born at a time. And I love it. I really do love it. And even the fight sequences are really good. The gore is like better than Hollywood gore.
Absolutely.
He's chopping off pieces of people's heads and ears and stuff like that. It's like wonderful.
Absolutely, man. And that's something that I'm going to need from the Acolyte, man. I need people to die from saber stabs. No?
I wish. If Donald Trump should make a hat that says "Make lightsabers lethal again," then he definitely have my vote.
Like in the Acolyte, what I need, man, I need high stakes. I need people to die from their wounds. People need to bleed out. I need that Revenge of the Sith shit back, man. You know what I'm saying?
Did you see, oh my god, did you see that cartoon Tales of the Empire?
Yes.
They pulled another one where someone gets driven in through a lightsaber and they live. And I'm like, is this the new age where lightsabers are nonsense? They don't do anything?
Yes.
I might as well use a butter knife against my villains. If you take a freaking lightsaber that's thousands of degrees and stick it through a person and it's not going to kill them, then what is the point?
Yeah, that was it's funny because it's the exact opposite in Jedi Fallen Order, that series. The biggest critique everyone has is everyone gets hit with a lightsaber, no one loses a limb. Like literally at one point, Darth Vader slashes someone diagonally, and instead of their body sliding off like it should, they actually just fall over. And I'm like, no, they need to be in two parts, bro. Two parts.
So stupid. So freaking stupid.
My predictions for the Acolyte, right? Everyone get dead. I'm still sticking with that one because this has to be a conspiracy. This has to be a Cold War, Winter Soldier type situation where this happened, and there can be no record of it afterwards. That's just the way it has to be.
Okay, so we've got to talk about episode 3, which is not out yet. So Tyrone, it's not just Tyrone Magnus, but I'll say Tyrone Magnus used the words episode 3. He says he's seen him, advanced
Yeah, they sent out
copies.
screeners, yeah.
And he said episode 3 breaks Star Wars. That's the words he used. Other people who have seen it, the best way I've heard it phrased is they say episode 3 is canon shaking.
Not words I like to hear.
And I'm like, what? This takes place 100 years before The Phantom Menace. How canon shaking can it be? Do you have any speculation as to what that is? Or is it possible? Are people just hating?
No, it's going to have to do with somehow that there's a Sith or there. Okay, so there's a few different ways we can look at this. So this is 100 years, you said, before Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So if Palpatine, for any reason, is in this, that right there is going to piss a lot of people off. If Plagueis, whatever his name is, if he is misrepresented or he is somehow in this, then that's going to piss people off. If they fuck with the rule of two, which, by the way, Filoni fucked with all the time.
All the time. What are the Inquisitors? What was Asajj Ventress? Is there even a rule of 2? Did anyone ever notice that Filoni doesn't even pay attention to the movies? And don't get me wrong, I love Clone Wars, but I agree with you. It's like
they were assassins. They're assassins, man. That's
they're not Sith. They're assassins who know everything about the Force and are skilled lightsaber fighters. Well, what's the difference?
One of them is named Darth, and the other one is not.
Pokey says the cuts also burn the wound. Yeah, they cauterize the wound and seal it all. No, but not a drive-through.
No.
Because they'll melt. Here's what it is: they'll melt your organs if it's in you.
So that would be canon shaking, and also if this young lady becomes a Sith Lord, then that's gonna. There's a lot of shit that could really fuck with the canon.
So, Nakai says lightsabers are supposed to pass through you like a hot knife through butter.
Yes.
The lightsabers were powered by Chaos Emeralds all along. Dr. Eggman steps in, crossing all these streams, these reference screens. Not even because the knife would just stay hot. Yeah, exactly. So have you heard Screen Crush's theory about the Sith?
No.
So in The Phantom Menace, in the desert, Qui-Gon fights Darth Maul, but he has to escape because they're all leaving, and he has a quick fight with him, and he's like, he's in shock. He's like, what is this thing? And he's fighting it. He gets jumping, and when he gets to Coruscant, he goes before the council, and he says, I was attacked by a man with a red lightsaber who knew the ways of the Force. I believe he was a Sith. And they all look at each other, and then one of them says, I do not believe the Sith could return. Well, Sith hasn't been seen since the formation of the Republic 1,000 years ago. And you see Yoda go. And then he looks at him. And, so Screen Crush. This is crazy, man. Screen Crush believes that Yoda knows that the Sith has returned, but has covered it up.
I mean, it coalesces with what Filoni has done. Remember, Yoda saw Qui-Gon and learned that there's another level of the Force and didn't think to tell anyone about it. He also learned that their view had been obstructed and didn't think to tell anyone about it. Also, wait, really quickly, in a vision, the same vision, he fought the secret Sith Lord and didn't think that was relevant information to bring back to the council.
Yes, I feel you. Yeah, I mean, Yoda's not perfect, An imperfect Jedi is he. See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
But and so here's what I'm saying. I think Screen Crush thinks that's what's going to happen, that the Jedi are going to find out that there's the Sith. And then you're like, wait a minute, but in Phantom Menace, they said they didn't know the Sith. But I think that if that happens, it's going to be by the end of at least first season, they're going to start covering it up, that the Sith have returned.
All right, listen here, man. Let's all stop pretending like there haven't been canon shaking events in Star Wars. If you're a fan of the novels, guess what? Canon shaking, because there were so many Jedi survivors, which, if they all survived and they were all Jedis, means that Luke could not be what?
Important in any way. Because here's what I'm saying. Why did Obi-Wan stick with him when he already has an army of trained dudes? You know what I mean? So he
cowards, because they were all cowards.
Right. He could get the guy with the dreadlocks. You know what I'm saying? He could get Ahsoka. Ahsoka's got skills.
Yeah.
He could get them all to all team up against Sidious. So why is he messing with this rookie motherfucker?
Because everything with canon in Star Wars was always a mistake. Everything Lucas thought of, and this is where I disagree with Star Wars theory, man. Whenever I hear someone use the term, it's not Star Wars, man. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. When I say I disagree with him, I don't hate Star Wars theory. I don't hate his opinions. I just disagree that I don't even think Lucas knew what Star Wars was sometimes. I really do just have the suspicion that every time a new film was greenlit, he was just like, really? Okay, here's what we do.
He made it up as he went along.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree, because in terms of pacing, the prequel trilogy, basically all of Anakin's story is really told in Revenge of the Sith, and the other ones are just kind of like optional views.
Right.
He didn't set anything up really, and that's his flaw. He's not perfect or whatever, but it is what it is. The question is, I'm so curious as to what this canon shaking is, because another thing is are these guys just haters?
Yeah, again, man, there's a fine line between being a fan and someone that takes a lore hostage, right? And I try not to, I teeter on that line all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because the same argument can be used against me, man. It's like, hey, you got to let people do their thing with the story and let Blade's daughter take over the reins. No, I don't.
No, no, you do not. I agree with you. You get a second vote. No Blade daughter.
But it's a beloved, something they love. They're passionate about it, and it's like, if it was good, I believe that all of them would fall in line. Like, if a good story was told that fucked with the canon, then everyone would fall in line. Like, hey, man, this changed the canon in a big way, but this movie kicked ass, man. This movie kicked ass. And it just hasn't happened yet. So I'm not ready to call them haters. The haters know who they are, right? The ones that mix some type of, other shit into the lore. But I don't
remember the anti-woke crowd. All they have to do is see a female and they'll be like, "It's woke." I'm like, yo, calm down, bro. Calm down. Let the bitch speak.
Oh, son. Oh, I meant to hit you up about this. I love when we just gotta go off script, man. I meant to hit you up about this. So you remember that beautiful scene in what was it, Mando 3 or Mando season 3, where it's finally revealed how baby Grogu got out of the temple, and the actor whose life was ruined by playing Jar Jar Binks comes back as a Jedi. Someone floated on Instagram, how great would a story be, a John Wick-esque story about that
would
Jedi?
Be amazing.
Yeah.
I would watch the hell out of it, especially if we knew he was going to die at the end, where he just goes, "I'm going out killing Sith Lords" or whatever.
Yeah, because here's the easy fix for all these things in Star Wars, man. We know there are other Jedi floating around. If you believe in the books, which a lot of you do, you all call to the books. I would love to see some of their stories. I would love to see some of their stories, and we can get end caps on that. Some of the best stuff I've seen in the comic books. One of the best stories was Vader's. I think it was like his second mission. He got sent to a planet to kill a fairly powerful Jedi, and it was war torn, and the planet's resisting the Empire. And he thinks he's landed the Jedi, but it turns out it's his Padawan. And when he finally meets up with the Jedi, he pursues this trail of the Force to go find the Jedi. He dispatches him fairly simply, but the Jedi that he was chasing was more of a strategic guy. And he's like, "Oh, no. I knew I was going to die when you came to this planet. It was never about beating you. It was about separating you from your forces so you couldn't lead them." And when Vader returns back, the Empire's brigade had been completely wiped out, and Sidious left them on the planet.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that type of shit I would love to see, man. And
I love seeing Vader fail.
Yes, absolutely.
He's kind of a Mary Sue, right?
Yeah. How dare you? How dare you point that out? How dare you point out that he just came into great power? Same thing with Luke. But yeah, I don't know what the canon shaking shit's gonna be, man. I'm so divorced from the canon of Star Wars, and I just want to see. I would settle for good at this point. Like, give me good. And I was the same way with X-Men '97. There's a lot of shit that happens in X-Men '97 that fucks with the canon, man. And I mean, messes with it in a big way.
I admit sometimes characters use their powers in the wrong way, or trust me, it wasn't perfect. It certainly wasn't perfect. Once again, at the end of the day, we just want a good show. Like
exactly,
just give me good.
Just give me good. Just give me the good.
Speaking of not good,
uh-oh,
you heard about what's going on with Kanye West?
No,
he is getting sued super hard by one of his assistants. This chick is fly. This chick is
yeah, she's a crazy person though. She's
However, who is the judge going to side with? Who's more crazy? Kanye West or some poor assistant?
So here's the thing. You sign a document that says you are not allowed to disclose any information, and you do that, you are in breach of that contractual agreement. You can't sue because you're being I mean, you can, but it's nonsensical. What I would like to talk about with you is, you're a champion of women, right? You're a man.
Okay, sure. I love me my bitches.
You're a man trying to bring stability back between the gender. And in doing so, you've declared that the safest place for a woman to be is a kitchen. That way she doesn't have to be involved in any of this messy politics, right?
Yeah, the politics, baby, the politics is just getting to your head, man. Why don't you go home, grab me a beer, fix me a sandwich. When daddy comes home, it's all going to be fixed. It's all going to be fixed.
Mexico, stand up. Mexico.
Speaking of rigged elections,
Mexico showing America how to get it done, man, has elected their very first female president. The first.
Well, I want to say this, and there's nothing wrong with this,
right?
I'm a friend to everybody. Jewish female.
Yes. I was blown away by that, bro.
This is unbelievable. I don't believe this is really happening. It's clearly rigged.
You think so?
She paid good money. She paid good money for this, and I applaud her for that.
So I didn't even read her Wikipedia yet before this, because I just wanted to come in and so I'd heard that she was Jewish. Break that down for me. What's going on here?
So let me ask you, just real quick. And no offense to anyone who is a card carrying or flag wearing, Mexican. We love you. But do you think that Mexico, of all the countries, is going to freely elect a female president?
What are you trying to insinuate? Are you trying to insinuate that they're not forward thinking enough, progressive enough?
Have you ever met a Mexican? I'm saying that came out wrong. That came out wrong. Well, how about this factoid? Did you know that this year in Mexico had the worst political violence ever, with 250 people being murdered?
Yeah.
Over elections, including candidates. Some of them for president, or others for mayors of Mexico City and stuff. They're murdering each other in the streets.
Yes.
A female Jewish becomes president of Mexico. Okay. Let me say that. Wait, hold on. Let me say that one more time. A female. Not one of those new females, the real female, the old school female. Jewish. Did I mention she was a female? Becomes president of Mexico. Now, I want you all to think about that. Just think about that.
Maybe democracy finally won here. Why do you have to look at it this way? Maybe civility, honesty, truth, justice, positivity, the power of affirmation.
Okay, simmer down. You're out of control.
A course on miracles. So let's see. In this Spanish name, the first parental surname, I can't pronounce the last name. Claudia, whatever.
Scheinbaum.
Scheinbaum is a Mexican politician, scientist, and academic, having won the 2024 Mexican general election, representing the left-wing political party. She is currently the president-elect of Mexico. From 2000 to 2006, she served as the Secretary of Environment under future President Andres Manuel Lopez during his tenure as head of government Mexico City. She was delegation chief of the something borough from 2015 to 2017 and was elected head government of Mexico City in 2018. I mean, so she's at least, at the very least, winning, right? She has a political career, more than we can say about our potential future for felon president.
Well, we'll have something different to say when he's elected. But she's also a scientist. Does that check out to you? And here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Mexico is not reading their science textbooks, but are they not insanely Catholic?
They are, I don't even know if it's a majority of the country anymore. But what is really striking to me is that she's from the left party, a leftist party, and she was able to win in a place that's more, or at least from what I've been told, right, from people who are from Mexico, is socially conservative about their views. So what does this all mean? What does it all mean? Can America take a page from their book? Is there something we need to understand that they're doing? And what impact is she going to have on the political landscape over there? Is she going to be able to get the cartels in line? Was she put in there by the cartels? What is she going to be able to accomplish? I guess.
Yeah, maybe she can make them a sandwich. Because it is unlikely she's going to have the chutzpah, no offense, Scheinbaum, to deal with cartels. It seems unrealistic. It's unrealistic. Have you seen her? She's cute, too. She's cute.
Is she? You're a cute lady.
Cute lady. This has to be rigged. That's my take. And I'm saying this because I love each and every one of you, because I tell it how it is. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not as convinced as Biden rigging the 2020. Right. That's obvious. But I'm saying, like, I feel like all points seem to be like, this is shady, and I feel like she paid good money for this win.
You know what, man? I can't wait to see what's going to happen. What if she turns out to be another, like, dictator? What if she is the leftist dictator? Like, this is for your...
Yes!
She's like, this is for your best good. So no more bad words in public. No more smoking.
Right. Yes! You're speaking it. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to say it right now, and I'm going to say it on behalf of the world, of all the genders, all two of them, that women, which is one of two genders that the planet Earth has, tend to, no offense to anyone, side with their emotions rather than the logical parts of arguments. So the idea is, let's ban someone's freedom of speech. And you're like, wait a minute, why? And they're like, because it offends me. And women are more likely to say, ban it.
Yeah.
Which is, even though it's constitutionally wrong, right? It's totally evil. And so you're right. She has bad feelings about it. She doesn't like smoking. Ban it. She doesn't like this and that. Ban it. Everything's getting banned because, she's like one of these chicks from The View. Right? Just spouting nonsense. But the problem is, she's going to have to deal with our boy, Donald Trump. And how is that going to go over? Let me take a minute. Let's take a minute.
First, before we even get there, how's she going to deal with the very real political wants and needs of her own population? Let's not mince words, man. Like, it's not just what we see in movies. Like, they got a real issue with organized crime over there and corruption within the government. If you're from Mexico and I'm wrong about that, please correct me. But from what I've heard from other people who are from Mexico, there is a corruption situation going on. I want to see how she's going to deal with those things. And then I want to see how she's going to deal with Biden or Trump, right?
Yo, a mutual friend of ours, her father fled here, and recently the government found out that he was illegal and tried to remove him. He's been here this long, and his immigration story is that he was working with the Mexican military. He was in the Mexican military, and they found out, him and his brothers, that they were fighting cartel people. And when they went on leave, they came home and got threatened. And they were told they were going to be, the family was going to be murdered if they stuck around. And the reason they fled to America was to avoid their family being murdered by cartels. That's how brazen the cartels are. They have, they literally threatened armed service people.
Yeah. There can be an open hit put on you if your identity is revealed. It's funny that we're talking about Mexico because we're also going to, I have a video queued up for you. And I believe it's the perfect way to end. I want you to say, I'm sorry. There's one thing I have to say about this. A good father's love. It's the latest video I sent you. A good father's love knows no bounds. And in a world where there are no consequences for the things you say on the internet, a comedian recently experienced some consequences. A left-leaning, I'll say what I want, do what I want type of comedian. But also, there's something else that comes up in here. Is the worst thing that can happen? Why is the predominant insult that any less than talented commentator joker have to say has to do with black dick? Right? Why is it like the worst thing that could happen is, oh, your wife got BBC'd?
So it is not, when you say that, it's not a comment about the speaker. It's more of a comment on the person who's hearing it. And what it is it's pointing out this person's a racist because they can't even deal. Like the worst thing that could happen to your daughter is if she sucks black dick. Like, you're like, and so normal person will be like, so maybe her boyfriend's black. But if someone is gonna get offended, it reveals that they're an asshole racist.
So the context behind this, though, is a comedian made some very strong jokes about a socially conservative commentator and protester, social activist.
He said it in comments, right? It's comment section.
In comment section. But he said it about his adolescent children. So you got what you got coming to you. You start bringing up minors and all this shit. You got what you got. You get what you get. You play games. Go play the video.
This is like the Drake and Lamar thing that I was talking about the other day.
Yeah.
Because you didn't think it was that bad, but I just felt like Lamar talking about his kids, even kids that he considers illegitimate, it's still too far. You talking about my kid, any of the kids I've had with these hoes.
Any of my
cut you. I'm gonna cut you. That's a guarantee.
Any of my bastards.
Yeah. Any of Pokey says a lot of people from there are very old school / machismo. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the political violence is crazy out there, says Nakai. I had zero idea about her politics until now. Yeah, she wasn't even on my radar, right? No, it's dangerous AF over there, says Pokey.
Yeah.
They hit every echelon of the government. Yeah, the political violence. Wow, totally nuts. Okay, and so we're gonna put on this video right here.
So when you click on it, it's gonna take you to the picture first.
Right,
be
the
aware
second image is
the second. Yeah. So
I know I've failed in that in the past, but
I'm not. I'm here to support you, man. Just be ready to unmute it. I know how you hate the Instagram videos.
I do.
But you can always find this quality content on Instagram. YouTube doesn't support this stuff. Unless it's
actually, that's funny. When you sent it to me earlier, I said another Instagram, and I started mumbling, and I started going through YouTube, and I could only find them in Spanish.
Yes,
there was no English speaking YouTuber was covering this.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let's go.
And click. What? What's? Well, they even blurred the smack. They didn't blur it earlier.
Dime a los comentarios de mi hijo. Basura. Ahora. ¿Qué decías que iba a comer un negro? Mi hijo que iba a comer pollas. Con 3 meses. Basura. ¿Ahora qué? Dímelo. Dímelo a la cara. Aquí ahora.
Fuck him up. Fuck him up. Fuck him up.
Lo siento, os pido perdón. Os pido perdón. Soy únicamente un padre que defiende a sus hijos. Ha hecho comentarios sexualizantes de mi hijo de 3 meses. Eso tiene sus consecuencias. No, ahora vas y me denuncias.
Look at this punk cower in the corner.
¿Eh? ¡Hombre! ¡Hombre!
Okay, your thoughts.
My thoughts are political beliefs be damned. You said some wild shit about my kids on the internet, man. You said it from the safety of your phone or behind your keyboard, and you didn't think that this man was going to show up and defend the honor of his family. And like I told you about the guy who jumped the dad, right? There are real consequences.
Right. We saw that.
There are consequences for the things that come out of your mouth, the things you say, especially if they can find you. And just because you're a comedian doesn't mean you get to haul off and say whatever you want when it's a personal attack against someone's family.
Yeah, no, I think it is absolutely disgusting, and that's what it is that because of the keyboard warrior thing, we as a society we forgot boundaries, because back in the day they would be guys hanging out on a corner, and if he were to say that, he would immediately get punched.
Yep.
And so because he doesn't get immediately punched, he feels like he can go around saying this to whatever. He could say any level of bullshit about a child.
Yeah.
And so I'm not advocating violence. I don't think anyone at the Fanboy Modeling School does, but way to go, Dad.
I love that he's like, pardon me. Listen,
Yeah.
that
was great that he was able to articulate himself.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. I just kind of wish there were, I thought it was going to be worse. I thought it was
No. It was just enough. It was just enough, man. And I'm sure somewhere there's some lefty leaning, I should be able to say whatever I want type of person. I'm like, yeah, you can say whatever you want, but you must also deal with the consequences of the things that come out of your mouth, man.
That's so funny that people think that the freedom protects them from the consequences. And it's like, no, of course not.
No, yeah. Bro, had a great show with you tonight, man.
I had an amazing show. How about you, brother?
Very good, man. We're going to go watch some freaking Acolyte. You guys who didn't tune in live, you're going to catch this on Riz Radio Live 365, broken up into segments, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We are on Live 365 app, and we are Riz Radio. You can find us there. Just go to the app and just type in Riz Radio. And so we're all over the place. Fanboy Modeling School is weekdays. We're breaking down these things throughout the week. So thank you for attending our live stream. We are living the dream super hard right now. I am the Fat Mantis. This my man over here is Steve.
Yes. I want to quantify the hard thing. We're living hard. We're not living on hard things. Yeah. Just want to make sure I throw that out there for the listening audience.
What? Yo, you're always so worried about people thinking you're one way or the other.
But another great episode, man. Catch me Thursday nights, Sunday nights over on Riz Radio, man, for Mic Check. I have to tell you, man, we had to do a retro This Day in Hip Hop episode this past Sunday on Mic Check, because I just could not deal with any more BS hip hop drama.
Right.
I can't talk about Puffy anymore, man. It's just like,
I'm so sick of it because there isn't new information. It's just people talking smack, like most media right now. But I'll say this: on your show, I really did enjoy a particular Redman song you put on. I was like, oh, I haven't heard this in years, man. I was like, yeah,
man. But catch me Thursday night, Sundays, on Riz Radio, man. I'm having the time of my life over there, man. Thank you for the opportunity, having so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can catch me on Sundays at 6 to 10 p.m. Big Beta Energy is the new name of the show. It's going to be a good time. Anyway, we are the Fanboy Modeling School, and we're taking off. Ciao for now, my lovelies. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace.